Hey guys, I had some more questions from you guys, which are great, and I thought I'd try to shoot some answers to you. One of the questions I had was about the trilobites that we're learning about in this unit. And the question was, how did they go extinct, and what happened to the trilobites? Well, as it turns out, we don't exactly know. We do know that trilobites lived for a really long time, like hundreds of times longer than the dinosaurs, or even thousands of times longer than humans have lived right now. So they're around for a really long time. If you remember, they're one of the first animals that are out there. So people thought, scientists believe now, that the trilobite extinction, which happened about 250 million years ago, is actually the end of the Paleozoic era. There was a big cataclysmic event that happened there. We had almost 90% of all species died during this event. And we're not exactly sure what it is. Sometimes scientists think that it may have something to do with global warming at that time, and that the oceans got a little bit too warm for the trilobites. Other scientists think that maybe there was some big gaseous explosions under the surface of the oceans, kind of like little volcanoes, which released a lot of methane and maybe poisoned the oceans. But other scientists also believe that since other animals were starting to evolve and become more and more complicated, there were more predators for the trilobites, and you had really fast swimming predators that would come in and just eat them all. So we're not exactly sure, but we do know that the event that took out the trilobites was a really big event on Earth. It took out lots of things, almost 90% of all life, animal life on Earth at that time. So kind of a big deal. And a lot of times we only think about big mass extinctions with things like dinosaurs, but no, this was way before the dinosaurs, and this was a much bigger extinction at that time. So yeah, the trilobites, we're not exactly sure, but that's why we do science, so we can start to try to figure out what actually happened back then. Another question you guys had is, how rare are these trilobite fossils? Well, as it turns out, they're not that rare. They're actually fairly common. Remember, trilobites lived for a really long time, way longer than dinosaurs, way longer than humans have lived so far. So there's a lot of fossils that are around by these trilobites. If you look on eBay, I think you can get a decent trilobite fossil for like 25 bucks, all the way up to, if it's a really nice one, maybe 100 bucks or something like that. So they're around, and you can get them. They're all over the world because trilobites were little tiny creatures that lived all over, and so there's a lot of fossils that are still around that show us how they lived and where they lived. So yeah, they're not terribly uncommon. All right, Cooper made a really good observation, I guess, about the trilobite's eye. There was an arrow that pointed to large eye, and he wondered if there was another one. Well, actually, trilobites had two eyes on the top of their head, and they actually weren't a lot like your eyes at all. It's really hard for us to figure out what the eyes were like way back then because they don't get preserved in the fossil record. The fossils actually is mostly hard things like bones that stick around. All the soft tissue like eyes and ears and skin actually goes away, and we're kind of left with the bones. But there have been some studies that are out there that talk about trilobite eyes, and they really think that trilobite eyes are a lot like a bee, like something a bee would have, where there's a lot of different facets in there, and they see lots of different pictures all around them, not just one picture in front of them. So a little bit more like an insect eye or a bee eye, where they can see lots of the area around them. Typically you do see these kinds of things in prey. Not predators, but you see them in prey. You see eyes that are not on the front of your face, but on the sides or together or like on top, where you can see a much broader area around them. If you ever see a dinosaur, or if you ever see a fossil, or you ever see an animal and the eyes are in front like this, not like a trilobite which are on top, but the eyes are in front, it's probably a predator. Because those eyes, that kind of vision allows you to sense depth. Like if you're going to grab something, if you're going to go out and nab something or bite something, you need to know how far away it is. So having two eyes in front of you usually means that you're a predator. You think like a T-Rex. A T-Rex has eyes right here. A piranha has eyes right here. A lot of fish have eyes on the side. that allows them to see a much broader view around them so they can see those predators coming. So if you're prey, like maybe a brontosaurus, you would have eyes on the sides, not eyes directly in front. So these trilobites, we think, were more prey. They didn't eat other animals. They ate, you know, fish and different, or not fish, but plants and little things like that. So we think that their eyes were a lot like a bee, and they had all these little images from all around them so that they could see around them. So great questions. Thank you guys so much for asking these questions. We're really learning to like science over there.